Spirit. When God said, let us make man after our likeness, in our image and after our likeness, He is offering out a prize, an eternal prize, worthy to be sought after. A goal for which one would endure anything to obtain it. And there is a certain glee. What's the glee? Glee is the spreading of the face in great contentment and pleasure, having the knowledge that I'm about to obtain an eternal prize. Henceforth is a crown laid up for me. I'm about to get it. I'm about to get the prize. I've run the race. I've finished my course. And I'm just at the point of the presentation of my reward. Imagine the great Olympians having all they got to do now is run the race, swim the laps. These guys next to me, my competitors, they don't stand a chance. The prize is mine. All I got to do is finish the race. I got to make sure my mind is focused. That when they get ready and say, gentlemen, take your mark, and get ready, that I don't jump the gun. I'm focused on it. I don't jump the gun. And yet I have to be so poised, like a spring that is compressed, ready to just fling out there. And I've got to focus. I've got to remember my routine. Don't bring my hands up too soon. Whatever I'm doing, whatever a runner does. And I've got to be so focused that the moment I hear that gun go off, the starter's pistol, that I no longer have to think about any of it. The race is mine. I know I'm the fastest. And so the only thing that stands between me and the prize is just the doing of it. And that's where Jesus was at right here. He said these things while he was still in mortal flesh, knowing that the last lap of the race, the going from courtyard to courtyard, judgment hall to judgment hall, letting them spit on him and beat him up and do all manner of evil against him and say terrible things about him. All he has to do is take it. Stand there and take it. Don't open his mouth. Just stay focused. There's a joy, an immeasurable joy out there waiting for me, and all I got to do is do it. And then imagine having done it. Like the great racer, that when he breaks the finish line and he's won, the glee that of going from the finish line to the podium. It's mine. It's mine. I didn't jump the gun. I did it lawfully. It's mine. It belongs to me. Climbing up the podium. The guy comes over and gives him the crown, the laurel wreath, or the medal, or whatever they give him, the trophy. The joy of it. Astounding. So Jesus, as he's going to the cross, has the words of his father David ringing in his ears. You will not suffer thine Holy One to see corruption. You will not leave my soul in hell or the grave. Therefore my heart was glad. My tongue rejoiced. My flesh shall rest in hope. Praise God. Where did he get this joy? Where did it come from? Well, that's a good question. Hebrews writer tells us, let's go to that. Hebrews, the 12th chapter. It says, now, Hebrews the 11th chapter has given us all the heroes of the Old Testament. That's what we call them, the heroes, the patriarchs, the fathers, the people of courage, men and women who endured hardship, proved themselves valiant. One songwriter put it like this. He said, by our God we shall do valiantly. What do you mean valiantly? Strong in the battle. I'm a weak-kneed, jelly-backed, fearful. I'm so full of fear and apprehension at the conflict that awaits me. But by our God, I'm going to do valiantly. Men that are stronger and bigger and faster and meaner, more skilled, they're not going to stand a chance against me. Because what they do is they come trusting in the arm of flesh. I go into this thing trusting in the living God. And they can bring a sword and a shield. I'll bring a smooth stone out of a brook. And I'll lay that giant low. By my God, I will do valiantly. My stature doesn't matter. His stature doesn't matter. God is going to make up the difference. We see all these heroes that didn't trust in the arm of flesh. And then he says, wherefore, seeing we also are compassed about with so great a cloud of witnesses, let us lay aside every weight and the sin which does so easily beset us. Let us run with patience the race that is set before us, looking unto Jesus, the author and finisher of our faith, who for the joy that was set before him endured the cross, despising the shame, and is set down on the right hand of the throne of God. He endured, it tells us, a great contradiction of sinners. He strove unto blood for a vision of something set before him. He had a concept of what his reward would be, and it wasn't just following after God's word by blind faith. He had a vision of this thing. And I can't overemphasize the importance of this. We are going to face the adversary. We are going to face trials and tests. We may have to resist under blood, striving against sin. We don't fight against flesh and blood. But what? Against powers and principalities and evil in high places and all that stuff. But while we don't strive against flesh and blood, it's going to cost us flesh and blood. We strive against spiritual wickedness, and the spirit of wickedness is going to kill our flesh. The only way they think they can reach us is through our flesh. And they're right. If they're going to reach us, they're going to reach us. If they're going to be able to touch our inner man, they're going to have to do it through the flesh. They have to discourage our spirit, and the only way to discourage our spirit is to torment our flesh. Think of it. When we suffer, it's our flesh that hurts. Jesus, knowing this, was able to complete his course for the joy that was set before him. So I want to look at that joy. What did he see? What did he experience? Let me ask you the question. I see a certain prophet. Let's go to him. Let's go to Zechariah. And the 4th chapter. Now, we had talked about earlier, if you could see it here. We talked about earlier concerning a branch shall grow out of the root of Jesse, a rod shall grow out of the root of Jesse, and a branch shall grow out of his roots. Again, the rod being a symbol of royal authority, and the branch being a continuation of the stem that was cut off. A tree that is cut down through the sin of water will sprout and bud again. And Zechariah picks up with what some of the things Isaiah said concerning about my servant, the branch, in chapter 3, verse 8. And he talks about the stone that has 7 eyes, and so on. When you look at some of these verses, and I'm not going to get into it in this Bible class, but I'm just going to throw something out for you to think about. Isaiah 11, you've got the 7 spirits of God, 7 attributes. Taken up again here, the 7 eyes upon one stone. Taken up again in the book of Revelation, the 7 spirits of the Eternal One. It's not saying that God has 7 spirits, but these are 7 attributes. 7 attributes of God. Power, might, counsel, understanding, knowledge, wisdom, fear of the Lord, mind of the Lord, so on and so on. They're upon this servant, the branch, and upon this stone. And he says here, in chapter 4, he says here that an angel came and talked to me, wakening me out of my sleep. And I said, and I looked, and I saw a candlestick of gold, in verse 2, 7 lamps thereon, 7 pipes to the 7 lamps. In other words, he saw a menorah. 7 candlesticks on this one stand with 7 bowls with pipes going to the bowls. And then he says, and I saw 2 olive trees by the candlestick. There was one on the right and one of the bowl, and the other on the left side thereof. And I asked the angel, verse 4, what are these, my Lord? The angel said, knowest thou not what these be? I said, no, my Lord. Then he answered and spake to me, says, this is the word of the Lord. unto Zerubbabel, not by might nor by power, but by my Spirit, saith the Lord of hosts. Now I hear preachers preach this all the time. Not by might nor by power, but by my Spirit. And they don't have a clue what that even means. It's not talking about receiving the Holy Ghost. It's talking about the fulfillment of God's purpose over the long haul of it. This is going to take several millennium to fulfill. And there are going to be nations that rise up and are destroyed over and over again. Millions, hundreds of millions, if not billions, of people will die to bring this to pass. Apostles and prophets will come on the scene and be murdered to bring this to pass. Bring what to pass? What we're about to bring this vision to pass. This vision of the candlestick with the pipes and the olive trees emptying their oil into it is something that must be fulfilled. And it's going to be done not by might nor by power, but by my Spirit, says the Eternal One. What? What are you talking about? He says, moreover in verse 8, the word of the Lord came to me saying, and he talks about Zerubbabel, that is someone born out of captivity, and so on. And he goes on and talks about the vision in verse 11. I asked him again, what are these two olive trees upon the right side and upon the left? And I asked him again, 3 times, what are these 2 olive branches? He looks to me and he says, you don't know? No, I don't know. He's not just saying these words for the fun of it and just telling a story. He wants to reveal something to us. And he's doing it in a way that causes us to perk up with anticipation to the answer. Please tell me. Please tell me. I gotta know. There's a longing in my heart to know what these things are about. And what does he say? Verse 14. Then he said, these are the 2 anointed ones that stand before the Lord of the whole earth. What does that mean? Tell me, what do you suppose that means? I tell you right now, Zechariah didn't have a clue. He still doesn't know. Sometimes when we're given a vision and you ask for an explanation, well, the explanation tells you what the vision means. So this is that. Daniel, what does the golden head of the great image that was in the dream of Nebuchadnezzar mean? Well, Daniel says, King Nebuchadnezzar, you are that golden head. Oh. I'm the chief. In other words, I'm the chief of all rulers that's ever come into the world. Yeah, that's you, Nebuchadnezzar. And the body of silver, well, that's the next guy that comes along. He's very valuable, very precious, but he's not worth as much as you are. And the skirts of brass, he's not worth as much as the one that follows you, and so on and so on. So what we see here, though, is an answer that's as perplexing as the vision itself. What are these 2 branches? Well, these are 2 anointed ones, stand before the Lord of the whole earth. Oh, what does that mean? Who's the Lord of the whole earth? And who are the two anointed ones? I was asked that question one time on a cold wintry day, much like today, as I sat by in what used to be a carriage house for horses, turned into an office for the pastor of the church, and a man that I had great confidence in says, what do you think that vision in Zechariah means? Said, I don't have a clue. Let me think about it. And then it came to me. Two anointed ones and the Lord of the whole earth. In this case, the word Lord, if you look at it, is in small letters. Meaning it's not one of those words, all capital Lords, where Adonai was substituted for Yahweh. This is talking about a ruler, and someone that rules the whole earth. And standing next to him are two anointed ones. And they empty their oil into him. In other words, his source of strength and power that gives fuel to the light that shines from him are these two anointed ones. I remember a time when Jesus asked a question. I believe we have it here. In the book of Mark. Let's go to the book of Mark. And I think it's somewhere around the 8th chapter. It is the 8th chapter. In the book of Mark, and the 8th chapter, it says in verse 27, and Jesus went out and his disciples into the town of Caesarea Philippi. And by the way, he asked his disciples, saying unto them, whom do men say that I am? They answered, John the Baptist. But some say Elias or Elijah, others one of the prophets. And he said unto them, but whom say ye that I am? And Peter answered and said unto him, thou art the Christ. And he charged them that they should tell no man of him. That story is also given in Matthew the 16th chapter. And I'm going to take a quick look at that. He says in Matthew the 16th chapter, but whom say ye that I am, in verse 15? Simon Peter answered and said, thou art the Christ, the Son of the living God. So Matthew goes into a little bit more of the explanation. After all, Matthew was there. Mark wasn't there. He's only heard the story. Mark's account is good, but it's not as thorough as Matthew. He says, and Jesus said to him, blessed art thou, Simon Bar-Jonah, for flesh and blood has not revealed this unto thee, but my Father which is in heaven. And I say unto you that thou art Peter, and upon this rock I will build my church, and the gates of hell shall not prevail against it. Simon Peter, you're blessed. You know who I am. You don't know it because of what I've taught you. You don't know it because of what people have said about me. You know who I am because my Father has revealed it to you. There is no other way to know who the Son of God is except the Father reveal him. We can teach it ever so clearly. We can lay the Scriptures out ever so plainly. But the only way to know the Son of God is for the Father to reveal it to you. Yes, he'll use the Scriptures. Yes, he'll use our words. Yes, he'll use the ministry to convey to you these concepts. But you cannot know who the Son of God is except the Father open your understanding. Look what what is said in Matthew, the 11th chapter. He says in verse 25, I thank you, O Father, Lord of heaven and earth, because you have hid these things from the wise and prudent, and revealed them unto babes. Even so, Father, for it seemed good in your sight. Why would God hide the knowledge of the Son of God? For the explicit purpose of keeping it in His control, to whom He reveals it. It says in one place, it pleased God to hide a matter, but it is the glory of kings to search it out. God has hidden His treasure, and no one can find it. You can't find it by searching, but you must search. You will not trip upon it, but you better be about your business so you can trip on it. What are we talking about? You're going to need to make a diligent effort to know the truth. But when it's all said and done, it's going to take God to open your understanding. Jesus said in verse 27, all things are delivered unto me of my Father, and no man knows the Son but the Father. So Simon Bar-Jonah, you don't know who I am because I told you. Because no man knows the Son. You don't know who I am because you've heard what people say about me. You know who I am because God has revealed it to you, because only the Father knows the Son. No exception. Neither knows any man the Father save the Son, and he to whomsoever the Son would reveal him. So if you know God, it's because the Son has revealed the Father to you. Well, that's how you know the Son. You know the Father because the Son revealed him to you. The reason you know the Son is because upon the revelation of the Father shows you who the Son is. It's like a loop. It's a continuous thing. You can't know who the Father is except the Son reveal him. And you can't know who the Son is except the Father tell you. Now the Son is a man. The Son can reveal to you the Father. But the Father is not a man. Even the Son cannot reveal to you who the Son is. Only God can open our understanding. Now how do we know that? Jesus said in one place, He said, he that sees me has seen the Father. Oh, so everybody takes that up to mean that when you look at Jesus, you see the Father in the sense that He is the Father. That's not what He said. And millions of people think they have believed on Jesus, but have not believed on Him because they don't understand His Word. There were literally tens of thousands of people that saw Jesus. They never saw the Father. In other words, they did not understand. So what is He talking about here? Upon this rock will I build my church. What? The revelation of the Son of God.